Bikini Bottom's nuclear origins. What if SpongeBob's underwater paradise is actually a post-apocalyptic wasteland where nuclear radiation created talking sea creatures? This theory suggests that Bikini Bottom exists beneath Bikini Atoll, the site of 1940s and 1950s atomic bomb tests that mutated marine life into the anthropomorphic characters we know and love. The idea started as fan speculation but gained credibility when show writers confirmed it was an early inside joke. The series was originally imagined as taking place in a post-nuclear world. The evidence is disturbingly compelling when you consider the real-world context. Bikini Atoll was the site of 23 nuclear weapons tests, including the infamous Castle Bravo hydrogen bomb that was 1,000 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Japan. The radiation levels were so severe that the native population was evacuated and the area remains largely uninhabitable today. This theory reframes the entire show as a dark comedy about the aftermath of human warfare. SpongeBob's boundless optimism becomes tragic, a mutated creature making the best of a world destroyed by atomic testing. The character's unusual abilities, like Sandy's air breathing or Plankton's intelligence despite being microscopic, suddenly make sense as radiation-induced mutations rather than cartoon logic. The 7 deadly sins characters. One of the most unsettling fan theories suggests that each main character in SpongeBob embodies one of the 7 deadly sins, turning the innocent cartoon into a moral allegory about human corruption. Mr. Krabs represents greed with his obsessive pursuit of money. Plankton embodies envy through his jealousy of Krabs' success. Patrick exemplifies sloth with his lazy lifestyle. And Squidward channels wrath through his constant anger and bitterness. Sandy represents pride with her Texan superiority complex and need to prove herself. Gary embodies gluttony through his constant need for food. And most unsettling of all, SpongeBob represents lust, not sexual desire, but an obsessive, unhealthy love for everyone and everything around him that borders on mania. Each character's defining trait becomes a moral failing rather than a quirky personality feature. SpongeBob's relentless positivity transforms from endearing enthusiasm into a disturbing obsession that ignores healthy boundaries and personal space. The implications suggest that Bikini Bottom isn't an innocent underwater community, but a collection of morally corrupt souls, each trapped by their particular sin. SpongeNet. This deeply unsettling theory reimagines SpongeBob's cheerful demeanor as a coping mechanism for severe post-traumatic stress disorder resulting from military service. Fans point to his regimented routine, waking to a horn alarm at dawn, wearing a uniform-like outfit and responding "yes sir" to authority figures as evidence of ingrained military discipline that suggests a dark past. The theory posits that SpongeBob's over-the-top positivity is a psychological defense mechanism masking traumatic war memories. His childlike wonder and enthusiasm become tragic when viewed as someone desperately trying to maintain sanity after experiencing the horrors of combat. His dedication to work transforms from admirable work ethic into the obsessive need for routine that many veterans use to cope with PTSD. SpongeBob's relationship with authority figures takes on new meaning under this interpretation. His eager-to-please attitude toward Mr. Krabs mirrors the way traumatized soldiers often maintain rigid respect for chain of command as a source of stability. His occasional moments of confusion or panic could represent flashbacks breaking through his carefully maintained facade of happiness. Most disturbing is how this theory recontextualizes SpongeBob's innocence. Every moment of joy becomes a victory against inner demons. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so subscribe and drop a like for the algorithm. Krabby Patty secret ingredient. Perhaps the most grotesque theory about the Krusty Krab suggests that the secret ingredient in Krabby Patties is crab meat, specifically meat from Mr. Krabs' own species. This would make every burger sold an act of cannibalism, with Mr. Krabs literally profiting from the slaughter of his own kind while customers unknowingly participate in this underwater holocaust. The evidence is disturbingly circumstantial but compelling. Mr. Krabs is notably one of the only crabs in Bikini Bottom symbolism, suggesting his species has been systematically eliminated. His fierce protection of the secret formula takes on new meaning if he's hiding evidence of mass genocide. The popularity and addictive quality of Krabby Patties could stem from customers literally developing a taste for crab meat without knowing it. A darker variation of this theory suggests the meat comes from Pearl's mother, explaining why a crab is raising a whale and why Pearl has no mother figure. This would mean Mr. Krabs built his restaurant empire by murdering his wife and serving her to unsuspecting customers, turning him from a greedy businessman into a calculating psychopath who profits from both familicide and cannibalism. The Poseidon's powder theory. This viral theory claims that Mr. Krabs ensures customer loyalty by lacing Krabby Patties with an addictive drug, specifically cocaine referenced as King Neptune's Poseidon powder on a recipe card shown in one episode. The idea transforms the Krusty Krab from a beloved restaurant into an underwater drug operation that keeps Bikini Bottom literally hooked on burgers. The theory explains the customer's obsessive devotion to Krabby Patties and their withdrawal-like symptoms when the restaurant closes. Characters' behavior around the burgers mirrors addiction, desperate craving, irrational anger when denied access, and the willingness to do anything for another fix. Mr. Krabs' protection of the secret formula becomes about hiding his drug operation rather than protecting a legitimate recipe. This interpretation makes Mr. Krabs a drug dealer who's built his fortune by systematically poisoning an entire community. Every satisfied customer becomes a victim of chemical manipulation, their happiness artificial, and their loyalty purchased through pharmaceutical dependency. The restaurant's success is built on destroying lives through addiction rather than providing quality food. Everyone's on drugs. Taking the drug theory further, fans have mapped each main character to different narcotic substances based on their behavior patterns, reimagining Bikini Bottom as a community of drug users, each representing different substances and their effects. SpongeBob's manic euphoria and occasional hallucinations suggest magic mushroom use, while Patrick's lazy demeanor and constant munchies point to chronic cannabis consumption. Squidward's depression and anhedonia mirror heroin addiction, making his grumpiness a symptom of withdrawal and his art a desperate attempt to find meaning through creative expression. Mr. Krabs' jittery obsession with money and paranoid behavior suggests cocaine use, while Mrs. Puff's constant anxiety and panic attacks indicate stimulant abuse or withdrawal symptoms. This theory transforms every character interaction into a meeting between different types of addicts, each dealing with their substance of choice while trying to maintain some semblance of normal life. The show's episodic nature mirrors the cyclical nature of addiction. Temporary highs followed by crashes, brief moments of clarity followed by return to dysfunctional behavior patterns. The implications turn Bikini Bottom into a cautionary tale about substance abuse disguised as children's entertainment. Each character represents a mental disorder. This psychological theory suggests that every main character symbolizes a different mental illness, turning SpongeBob into a study of psychiatric disorders disguised as cartoon entertainment. SpongeBob's clingy enthusiasm and inability to read social cues suggest dependent personality disorder or ADHD, while his manic episodes and crashes indicate possible bipolar disorder. Patrick's erratic mood swings and dramatic personality changes point to dissociative identity disorder, explaining his occasional moments of unexpected intelligence followed by periods of complete stupidity. Squidward's cynicism, anhedonia, and social withdrawal mirror major depressive disorder, while his artistic obsession suggests possible bipolar creative episodes. Mrs. Puff's constant anxiety, panic attacks, and trembling clearly indicate post-traumatic stress disorder, likely resulting from her repeated traumatic experiences with SpongeBob's driving. Her inflating defense mechanism represents a physical manifestation of psychological protection, while her occasional violent outbursts suggest PTSD-related anger episodes. The show's humor becomes dark comedy about mental health struggles, while the characters' friendships represent the support systems necessary for people dealing with psychological challenges to maintain relationships and community connections. Squidward's Suicide Lost episode. The most infamous SpongeBob creepypasta, Squidward's Suicide or Red Mist, describes a supposedly lost episode where Squidward graphically kills himself after a humiliating clarinet performance. According to the urban legend, Nickelodeon interns discovered this deranged episode featuring disturbing imagery, including hyper-realistic eyes, graphic violence, and dead children, creating one of the internet's most enduring horror myths. The story describes Squidward's performance being met with harsh criticism, leading to a psychological breakdown shown in increasingly disturbing detail. The episode allegedly features realistic human eyes replacing cartoon ones, blood tears, and ultimately Squidward taking his own life with a shotgun while eerie music plays. The horror escalates with images of dead children and supernatural elements that traumatize the fictional viewers. While completely fabricated, the legend gained such popularity that the actual show referenced it in 2019, briefly showing a horrifying Squidward with red eyes and black tears behind a door. This Easter egg transformed fanfiction into semi-canon, blurring the line between urban legend and actual content while acknowledging the story's cultural impact. Pearl's missing mother. The absence of Pearl's mother has spawned one of the show's darkest theories, that she was killed by whale hunters, making Pearl an orphan taken in by the sympathetic Mr. Krabs. This explanation for why a crab is raising a whale ties into real-world whaling cruelty and suggests a tragic backstory hidden beneath the show's cheerful surface. The theory paints Mr. Krabs in a surprisingly sympathetic light, transforming him from a greedy businessman into a compassionate figure who adopted an orphaned whale after her parents fell victim to human cruelty. Pearl's gratitude toward her daddy takes on new meaning when viewed as appreciation for someone who saved her from a life of abandonment and potential death. This interpretation adds layers of trauma to Pearl's character, suggesting her teenage rebelliousness might stem from unprocessed grief over her parents' violent deaths. Her desire for expensive things could represent attempts to fill an emotional void left by losing her biological family, while her relationship with Mr. Krabs becomes a touching story of interspecies adoption and healing. The theory connects SpongeBob to real-world environmental destruction and species extinction, making the show's underwater setting a refuge for creatures whose surface world counterparts face systematic slaughter. Patrick Star, secret sociopath. While Patrick appears to be a lovable dimwit, this theory suggests he's actually a manipulative sociopath who uses feigned stupidity to exploit those around him. Fans point to episodes where Patrick's behavior becomes especially cruel or self-centered, arguing that his occasional intelligence reveals a calculating mind behind the innocent facade. The evidence includes Patrick's complete lack of empathy in episodes like Pet Sitter Pat, where his negligence nearly kills Gary, and The Card, where he destroys SpongeBob's prized possession without remorse. His ability to manipulate situations to his advantage while maintaining plausible deniability suggests sophisticated psychological manipulation rather than simple stupidity. Patrick's living situation under a rock becomes symbolic of his hidden nature. He literally lives beneath the surface, concealing his true self from the community above. His unemployment and parasitic relationship with SpongeBob take on sinister undertones when viewed as deliberate exploitation rather than innocent friendship. The theory transforms Patrick from comic relief into a predator who preys on SpongeBob's kindness and naivety. Every moment of apparent stupidity becomes calculated manipulation, while his friendship with SpongeBob represents a long-term psychological exploitation where Patrick feeds off his friend's positive energy while giving nothing meaningful in return. They're all dead kids. This deeply unsettling creepypasta theory claims that SpongeBob and his friends are actually the souls of dead children who have possessed sea creatures, turning the cheerful underwater world into a supernatural realm of tragedy and loss. According to this legend, each character's human counterpart died tragically before taking over the body of a sea creature that matched their personality traits. The theory provides specific death scenarios. SpongeBob was a boy named Bob Bob, who died in a bicycle accident. Patrick was a child who fell from a roof. Squidward was a lonely man who died of a heart attack, and so on. Each character's aquatic form reflects their human personality. SpongeBob possesses a sponge because he was absorbent and cleaning obsessed. Patrick inhabits a starfish under a rock because he was lazy and lived under his parents' roof. According to this myth, a marine biologist discovered these sentient sea creatures, and their discovery inspired the creation of the show, making SpongeBob a documentary about supernatural possession rather than innocent entertainment. The characters' childlike behavior becomes explained by their human souls being trapped at the age they died, unable to mature or move on. This was every disturbing SpongeBob theory explained. Which theory did you find the most disturbing? If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to never miss a video.